Now, if you apply evolutionary thinking to this situation, one sees that it is now the bodies of knowledge that are creating the project management associations, the consultants and the gurus, etc. Furthermore, akin to the dams in my previous example, artifacts of project management, such as the PMBOK guide, are inextricable from the domains of work from when they were born. As an example, consider the artifacts such as the Prince 2 model and agile development. The former is an approach to deliver projects that's born out of a highly structured environment of the UK government. The latter is a developmental approach pioneered by programmers who are notorious for disliking documentation, and there's a few here in the audience, and that more closely relates, this does, to their emergent work patterns. In summary, although project work is literally a part of us, both biologically and culturally, as it gives us real survival advantages in particular cultural environments, and can provide those involved with various physiological fixes, we must acknowledge that each domain of work, health, art, science, education, agriculture, and so on, is also capable of evolving its own methods for managing projects if given the freedom to do so. So I suggest there is a moral obligation on all scholars and practitioners of project management to enable these domain-specific methods to emerge. All of us should be equally enabled to continuously and transparently contribute to the project management body of knowledge. Domains versus disciplines, or professional disciplines. I just want to show you how we've sort of moved from a domain, or something that was mainly in a domain, to now becoming a sort of a professional discipline. Because the story of the modern manager begins in America at the beginning of the 20th century, as really businesses expanded into corporations. At that time, there were possibly 3 career tracks. I've shown them here for upper level and senior manager. This was the era of the company man. One of the strengths of this behavior, of course, is that people obtained domain knowledge. Businesses today are run by professional managers. Previously, managers of businesses had some domain knowledge. To run an engineering business, you needed to know a lot about engineering. However, at some point, a shift from domain to discipline took place, and management education, which can be divided up into possibly 3 eras, had much to do with this. Now, a byproduct of this behavior is that managers became more specialized and more intellectualized than they'd previously been. Rather than being a jack of all company trades, increasingly managers saw themselves as marketing or finance people with greater career mobility, because a detailed knowledge of one's company business was not necessary. The growth of the short-term institutional investors, online day traders if you like, has put more pressure on corporations to improve their share price. And this has driven senior management to be recruited from finance rather than engineering or law. Many recruitment advertisements today require so-called program managers to have a sound background in finance. Consequently, businesses are being reconceptualized as a collection of numbers or financial assets. And this new breed of senior manager understands how financial markets work and can cooperate with shareholders, not necessarily stakeholders, to improve the rate of return on the company. The democratization of the workforce through project management is, as I mentioned yesterday, thankfully more sophisticated than mobilizing the workforce to vote on every decision. Now, my proposal involves 4 basic principles: a bottom-up approach to decision making. That's where we get the experts involved. a horizontal domain view of project management rather than a current hierarchical we strive to attain the one best way discipline approach, as I previously described, and an open source approach to building a body of knowledge, and a culture that celebrates anonymous reporting. I'm going to elaborate on the latter two there. But the most revolutionary point is that of an open source body of knowledge for project management. Now, open source means so much more than being free to access. Paul Giamalvo, in an article in PM Today, has previously called for the PMBOK to be placed in a public domain. However, I suggest there can be an open source project management body of knowledge, an OS PMBOK, which can be enabled by collaborative technologies to evolve openly and transparently and be distributed freely. One way of commencing this activity is to follow an example much like that of the software development industry, which has collaboratively developed a manifesto for agile software development. This manifesto is a general statement of principles that the industry has informally agreed should underpin agile software development. Excuse me. A variety of, in this diagram here, a variety of representative bodies of the various domains could be involved in directing and developing the new OS PMBOK. The various domains such as health, engineering, agriculture, media, and so on would develop their own knowledge libraries which capture the concepts and practices that are pertinent to the management of projects in their particular domain. As this figure shows, a knowledge library would be underpinned by its own source evidence, which might comprise empirical research or case studies, the purpose of which is to transparently demonstrate the evidence-based legitimacy of each of the features of the knowledge libraries. Clearly, the internet would be a good collaborative tool for distributing and contributing to the OS PMBOK, with regularly elected representative bodies having oversight of the process of building each knowledge library. Everyone would have access to the knowledge libraries and the source evidence. So how would it work? A feature, the component part of the knowledge library, can be submitted by anyone along with source evidence to one of the elected committees that has oversight of the domain knowledge library. Following a review of the source evidence and the relevancy of the feature to the domain, the oversight committee reject or accept the feature into the knowledge library. And this process would take place in a transparent manner. So if you looked at perhaps the wiki type structure that it would have on the web, on the front page it would actually have the knowledge library collection, the official one, and then on pages perhaps behind would be the discussion which has taken place on what is being selected into the knowledge library with access to the original source evidence. So anyone can see what's submitted and how the acceptance process unfolds. Anyone who is charged with managing a project is able to browse through the various domain knowledge libraries for a project process that would best suit their situation. Lastly then, the culture of anonymous reporting. Now, the honest and frank input from users and peers would be an essential part of the development process of the OS PMBOK. I suggest that a system should be put in place for practitioners to anonymously report project management mishaps or near misses, such as those systems that are used now in the domains of aviation and more recently public health. The design and implementation of such a reporting system for project management practices is beyond the scope of this paper. However, such a system would significantly influence the education and engagement of all stakeholders in project management, and perhaps bring the concept and incidences of luck and serendipity to the fore of the discussion that informs the development of a free and open source body of knowledge for project management. So my concluding remarks then: when completely embraced, this evolutionary mindset towards project management is liberating because it provides a platform from which to launch a revolution, to explore project management anew, and provide the foundations for a new, transparent, equitable, and evidence-based philosophy of project management that will enable practitioners and scholars to turn management platitudes on their head, to shift the balance of benefits towards us managers rather than professional associations, and ultimately democratize the workforce. Thank you very much. Now, if I don't know if Ali wants to step up now. Thank you.